This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, and joining me today is none other than the daughter of legendary wrestler, the Dynamite Kid, Tom Billington. She is now in the wrestling business herself. She is known as the Dynamite Doll, Bronwyne Billington. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on. You look amazing.
Thank you.
What are you up to during this lockdown? I guess you're not wrestling that much.
Well, I work full time. Luckily, I still have a job that I go out to, and I'm a mom of two, so I'm super busy still.
Mom of two. Wow, you don't even seem like you're that old. I guess you started your family young.
In my 20s, early 20s, yeah.
Very good. Oh, I think there's some streaming issue. Okay, no, it's going. So as far as your wrestling career, what made you want to get into wrestling?
So it first started with Heart Legacy Wrestling was doing a tribute show for the Stampede Wrestlers. It was at the Pavilion in Calgary, the legendary Pavilion where Stampede Wrestling got started. And my dad wrestled there at a very young age. So they just had a tribute show, and they had all the wrestlers' family come, and they started the show with everyone walking around the ring, just kind of waving. And this is, Dynamite Kid's family. And my daughter, she was maybe 6 at the time. She got to walk with me around the ring too, and my mom as well. So it started there, and I thought it was just going to be a one-shot deal, but I had so much fun at that show that I ended up continuing to do more. That show, I was in the first match was a battle royal, and I just stood ringside, and I loved it so much that I, of course, went back the next month.
Did you ever have any formal training to be a manager, or did you just learn as you went along?
No formal training, no, just watching, WWE and Total Divas, stuff like that. So I kind of had an idea of, and growing up watching wrestling with Miss Elizabeth, she was always my idol, and Scary Sherry as well. So yeah, I just kind of went with it.
Total Divas with Natalia, of course. I'm going to guess she was your favorite character on that show.
Well, of course, yeah. Family, so.
Has she advised you much over the years?
We haven't really talked about it much, no.
I see.
Enough, yeah. It's something, I try not to put myself out there too much. I'm not trying to make a career out of it. I just do it for fun. Like I said, I work full time. I'm a mom. So it's just something that I do for fun. It's like a hobby.
As far as the people that you've managed so far, do you want to go into some of the wrestlers that you've walked to the ring and helped out over the years?
I mean, it's typically been who I work with in Calgary. So that's heavy metal, part of Top Talent. So I've been working with him for, I think it's been 4 years now. So that's my bro, my love. You can't break us up. But I've also walked with my cousin, Harry Smith. That was really awesome. I enjoy doing that. We've done it quite a few times. And we did it in England even twice. We had 2 shows we did in England, and that was really, really cool. It was on my bucket list, so we did that. Worked with family members like Teddy Hart, and yeah, I'm trying to think who else. It hasn't really been big names. It's just my local boys, like my best friends, Scott Lee Crew, Wavell Star in Regina.
Yeah, I saw some pictures of you managing Wavell. What was that experience like? He's underrated as a wrestler. He did have some WWE matches, but unfortunately, I think they ended up hiring Tatanka rather than giving him a shot.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but he's pretty good.
He's amazing. I love working with Wavell. When I first started doing shows in Calgary, he was always here. And then, he was always one of my favorite people to see backstage. And I'd go to Regina, I'd work with him, and we love him so much. He's like part of the family. My mom adores him. My aunt adores him. Everyone loves him.
What are some of your earliest memories of growing up as part of the Hart family, such a legendary wrestling family?
Some of the earliest memories, of course, would be Sunday dinners, going to the Hart House, and there'd be a ton of kids, Usually the kids had their own area and seats where we'd eat, and all the wrestlers would be there. There was a wrestling ring outside. There was the dungeon downstairs, of course. So usually the kids would be either in the dungeon and people, the men would be outside wrestling, or vice versa. We'd be in the ring playing around, so yeah, it was always a big meal, lots of people, lots of big men, wrestlers. It was great. Lots of animals.
And with your dad being the Dynamite Kid, how was he when you were growing up as a father? I know he was away a lot because the schedule was brutal when you were very young, but what are some of the early memories you have of him? Because we never hear about that side of him as a father.
Yeah, my dad was always on the road, so I wasn't used to him being home. He would come home from 6 weeks on the road from Japan, and he'd always come home with gifts for my mom and I. He spoiled me rotten. I was his firstborn, his princess, so he was really, really good to me. And when I did see him, of course, he wasn't around very much, but loved being a dad. And my mom and dad were super in love. They were young. They had me young. My mom was 20 when she had me, so it was a young love and fun. He was funny. Yeah, we had a wrestling ring at our house as well, so there was always wrestling going on at our house, and he just did anything he could to be a good dad to me.
Did you live far from the Hart Mansion, or were you pretty close by?
We were pretty close. We lived at first in Springbank as well. We had an acreage in Springbank, and then we moved to an acreage just outside of Cochrane, if you know where that is. But yeah, that's super close. Northwest Calgary.
Yeah, when I was in Calgary, I actually lived in Cochrane, so I'm very familiar with that. Yeah, I heard actually, now that you bring that up, that you guys had quite a property out there. I guess that's where you would have had the ring out back as well.
Yes, in Springbank, the first house, we had a big barn and there was a wrestling ring in there. So as a kid, I can remember playing in there with my cousins, and my dad would always be training his friends in there.
Did your dad ever wrestle around with you in the ring, or were you still too small at that point?
I think I was too small. I can't remember doing that, but my mom just recently developed some old pictures that she had never developed, and there were some pictures of my dad and my little brother wrestling around in the ring. So he would have just been 2 at the time. So those were some pretty precious photos we just found.
Did you have his action figure?
Oh yeah, the rubber one, I still have it.
There's a fan on here that wants to know, who is your favorite band right now? A non-wrestling question.
My favorite band is Marilyn Manson. That's my number one. Obsessed. I'm a metal rock girl, so.
That's good. You're my kind of girl, I guess.
I'm missing concerts right now. So bad.
Oh, God. Yeah, we all are. I used to do concert security just to watch all the concerts from the front. Someone mentions on here, everyone today wrestles in Dynamite Kid's shadow. There's a lot of wrestlers that have patterned themselves after the Dynamite Kid. What do you think about that, your father having such a legacy?
I think it's amazing that it is absolutely part of his legacy. Everyone says he was so ahead of his time, and they're absolutely right, because he kind of paved the way for wrestlers today and high flyers especially. And of course, that's my favorite style of wrestling. I love it.
Biggs21 says, have you ever tried to do the flying headbutt off the top rope like your dad used to do?
No. No, I'm going to leave that for the big dogs.
Is there any match of his that stands out?
I have a lot of favorites. British Bulldogs versus Hart Foundation, if it was Stampede Wrestling or WWF at the time. Those are some of my favorites because they're all family members and there's so much chemistry there. Of course, my dad with Tiger Mask in Japan. Those are legendary. I love watching the old stuff with my dad and World of Sport, like any of those old matches where he's really skinny and young and just getting started. And yeah, those are some of my favorites. WrestleMania moments with Ozzy Osbourne, like, come on. Amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I understand that Ozzy was actually a fan of the British Bulldog, so it was kind of cool.
As I heard it, he reached out to Vince requesting to manage the Bulldog, so I think that's pretty rad.
Yeah. John Stewart says, was Matilda a family dog or was that just a gimmick? Did you have much interaction with Matilda?
So Matilda actually went home with Davy, so that was Davy's pet, and she came to many of my birthday parties. I have pictures that she was there. I was 4 years old, 4 or 3 years old, and she'd be at my birthday parties, and everyone's taking pictures with her. So yeah, I definitely got to pet her.
Were you ever backstage at any WWE events at that time?
I sure was. Yeah, I was always backstage. The funny thing is, I can't really remember watching the actual shows. I just remember being backstage. So I would be chilling with, Randy Savage and Elizabeth. I have lots of pictures with them. For some reason, they adored me, so I was always in their room. Everyone had separate locker rooms, so I'd be with them. And yeah, those are some of my fondest memories.
Chris Norman, watching on the Hannibal TV Facebook stream, says, Happy New Year to you. And in your opinion, where do you see Harry working next?
Happy New Year to you too, Chris. I see Harry working in Japan. I think that's his forte. It suits his style. He loves it there. He loves the culture. Yeah. Japan all the way.
Very interesting because, of course, he's one of the hottest free agents right now. I guess you don't know much more if Ted's moved back to Calgary or if Ted's planning to come back to Canada.
I don't know, unfortunately, no.
And as far as TJ and Natty, of course, they're related to you. Any favorite matches of TJ over the years and Natty?
I love the match when they were all in Calgary and Brett came down to the ring. That was, I don't even know if that was on TV. That might have been a house show. I can't remember, but that was awesome.
Someone wants to know about Jake Roberts, if you had much interaction with him.
I don't think I have. Not sure if I've ever met him. Nope.
Mr. Slats wants to know if you ever met Andre the Giant.
I did meet Andre the Giant. I was about 7 years old, and we were in, was it LA or I think it was LA. And in the hotel where we were, he was in the lobby, and I think I was with my Uncle Brett or my Aunt Julie, and he came over and I got introduced and he shook my hand. And I was just a little girl when he shook my hand. It just covered my whole little hand. I was like, oh my God, he's a giant. And I never did get a picture with him. Back then, people didn't carry around photos. I wish that I did have a picture with him. But I have that memory of him shaking my hand and it just covering my whole little hand.
Michelle Billington says, Randy Savage loved your big blue eyes.
Thanks,
Get
Mom.
that, I heard your mom and you are part of the Dark Side of the Ring show on your father. Could you tell us anything about that?
I can't really comment on that. You'll just have to tune into season 3.
I guess they also interviewed Jacques Rougeau about that. We've heard his side and Raymond's side of that. Could you tell us from the side that you've heard from your mom and dad about that whole situation?
I would have been really little, so I don't really care to elaborate on that. I wasn't really around to know what was going on. It's out there. Everyone's heard it, so it's not something I really care to talk about.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just wondering if there was any information that people...
if you want to get my mom, she might have a side to tell, but...
Yeah, one day maybe I'll run into her. I don't think I ever met you or your mom, as we already discussed. I definitely knew of your name, but for some reason we never crossed paths.
We could have crossed, who knows?
John Stewart wants to know, besides your father, who do you think was the best wrestler of all time?
Not naming any family members, I will go with Macho Man is my absolute favorite, and The Rock.
Steve wants to know if there was any wrestlers backstage in WWE that scared you when you were little.
Yes, Undertaker, of course. So I remember there was a Calgary show, and then there was a big barbecue with all the wrestlers at my Uncle Brett's house after. And a bunch of the guys had a big water fight. They had the big water guns. It was Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Tatanka was there, a bunch of guys. And so that was fun. We were doing that. And then we go upstairs. And I'm sure he was just joking around, but he was acting for us. It was Undertaker, and he was taking a nap on the couch. And we creep up quietly. I'm like, she's sleeping. And then he started doing the eye rolling back thing. And we were like, and just ran off. And Paul Bearer really, really scared me as well.
Now, I know Diana has said the Hart House may have been haunted, and I know Angie, one of Ted's sisters, has said it was. Ross recently told me that he didn't think it was at all.
Really?
What's your theory on whether it's haunted or not?
Oh, it has to be. It has to be because it was on an old hospital or something like that.
Yeah, they used it or something in in one of the wars. I heard.
And I didn't sleep over there a lot when I was little. I was only there for dinners mainly. I did sleep over a few times with some of the cousins as we were a bit older, but so I can't recall the feeling of recognizing if it was haunted. But I remember just looking at all the cracked ceilings and being like, oh, this place is haunted and scary and the roof is going to collapse for sure.
Do you have any memories of Stu and Helen?
I do, yeah. Every Sunday dinner, Stu would always pull my ponytail. That's just what he did. So I was always scared to go give him a hug because he'd pull my ponytail. And Helen was just so sweet. She always considered us Billington kids one of, her very own grandchildren.
Yes, I've heard that as well. Did Stu? I guess Stu never wrestled you or put you in any headlocks or anything.
No,
like
I think I would stay close behind my mom because I knew.
How did you get along with Smith? I always thought he was a really nice guy.
I love Smith. So he would always be around. RCW is the promotion that I work for, and he was always there. And his son, Matthew, works for RCW as well. So he'd always be there supporting Matt. And my mom always spoke highly of Smith, and he always would speak highly of her and me and treat us kindly. Yeah, Smith was a good man.
Before the lockdown, what was the wrestling scene looking like on the indies in Alberta? I haven't really been following it, but I'm sure the fans here would like to know because obviously it used to be one of the hot cities for wrestling.
Yeah, so we were doing shows monthly. It'd be once a month at the Downtown Legion in Calgary. And then, so they would do once a month in Edmonton, once a month in Calgary, and then sometimes a couple little towns around there, like twice a month. But then when the lockdown started, they actually, at first, May-ish, I think, they were doing it once a week just because you're only allowed 100 people in the venue. So they were doing once a week. I wasn't really going then just because I still didn't want to put myself at risk because I have kids and stuff like that. But now they're not running at all because the restrictions. So we're hopefully those will be lifted soon and shows will be running again monthly, bi-weekly, whatever we can do.
Is the Downtown Legion the same place as the Ogden Legion, or is that a different one?
That's a different Legion.
Okay. Is there still wrestling at the Ogden Legion?
No, not currently.
Okay. I know they put their price way up from what it used to be.
I'm not sure if it was the Legion or not. Oh, no, it wasn't. Heart Legacy was doing some shows last year in Bowness, but not. Oh, sorry, that's Ogden.
Yeah, they used to run the Bowness Sportsplex.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely.
I live in Bowness, so that's convenient for me. Or would be.
You live in Bowness?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that venue was pretty good. Not the arena, but the bingo side when they cleared out the bingo. It always was a decent atmosphere. John wants to know if you had any interaction with the McMahon family.
You know what? I can't remember meeting him. I was so young, so yeah, I can't really recall. I'm sure I did meet him when I was young, but.
Someone's asking strangely if you ever met Tugboat, aka Fred Ottoman.
No, I haven't, but my boyfriend dressed up as him one time. We did a dress up party for not Halloween, sorry. Why am I drawing a blank? WrestleMania. It was WrestleMania. We did a themed 80s wrestling party. So he was Tugboat and I was Jake the Snake. I actually had a pet snake at the time, so I just brought my snake to the party.
Oh, yeah. What type of snake?
Ball python. But I got rid of it now just because I was having a baby and I have 2 cats. And so it was too much.
What did you have to feed that thing?
Rats.
So you'd have to buy live rats and feed it?
I bought them frozen.
Oh, okay. Now,
I couldn't do live.
This is a weird question, but it could be true. Yo Money wants to know, is it true Virgil visited your father in 2000?
I believe it is true because there's a picture.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, there's a picture out there.
Were they close?
I have no idea. Sometimes if people just contacted the right person and said, hey, I'm in town, I'd like to see you, then my dad would. He loved visitors. He was very private, but sometimes he'd have those really rare people come over.
How did you react when you found out he was having all those back issues and unfortunately he'd have to be put in a wheelchair?
I mean, I was fairly young then, so I don't know that I had such a reaction, but it really hit me when I first had seen him in the wheelchair. That was something different for me.
Did you visit him much over in the UK? I know it's a really expensive flight.
Yeah, so I hadn't seen him. The last time I'd seen him was 1995. And then between that visit, I hadn't seen him again until 2010. So that was 15 years. So that's when I went over. And the first time I saw him, he didn't know I was coming over because we had lost touch for 8 years. So when I first went over, I just showed up on his doorstep. And yeah, that was the first time I saw him in a wheelchair. And that really I kind of broke down seeing him that way at first. But after that visit, I really got used to it. And it really wasn't that bad. He still looked healthy, like he had meat on his bones. And
I see. Now, Andre wants to know, on a brighter note, how did you like managing top talent in RCW wrestling?
I love managing top talent. So that's Heavy Metal and Jesse Youngblood. Those are my boys. Those are the two I've been working with for the last 5 years. Or 4 years.
Many guys on here find you attractive.
Thank you.
Comments on that. As I said, when I saw those pictures, I think you made a mistake not sending some of those Dynamite Doll pictures to WWE. I know you had a family and stuff, but
yeah, no, I never was trying to make a career out of it. I was just, you know what, I was a mom and I had a full-time job and I just wanted something that was for me, like me time.
Your mom,
my snake.
Yeah.
Yes, because when they're all dry and they're not shedding, you have to bath them.
Really? So do you jump in there with it, or is
no?
Okay.
But I did do a wrestling show one time. I got to bring, it wasn't my snake, it was a friend's snake, but I brought a big, huge white snake, and that was pretty cool. That was fun.
Georgia, Harry's sister, is on here saying you look beautiful.
Thanks, cuz.
Josh says, what's up? John's wondering what your cat's name is. I know it's not in the room right now.
Yes, so I have 2 cats. The one that I kicked out, I had to kick him out at the beginning of this interview because he was being so loud. He thinks he's a dog. His name is Chester, but my other cat is a big orange stripy tiger, and his name is Tiger after Tiger Mask.
Ibzan wants to know if you ever met Alundra Blaze.
No, I've not.
Someone's wondering between WWE and AEW, I guess as a viewer, which do you prefer?
All right, here we go. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but I'm a huge AEW fan. Watch it every Wednesday. It just was something new and exciting for me. WWE, I love the divas. Like love, 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 love. I will always tune in for them. Natalya, she should be the champion because she's the best. But I'm just liking AEW. It's fresh and, you know, lots of high flyers. They get more creativity, control. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Jericho's awesome.
Is Natalya also an agent back there now?
I know TJ works part of the writing or something like that. So not too sure.
Yeah, because I heard that they use her sometimes to help put other girls' matches together too. So
I'm sure. Yeah,
she's great, and she's been at it since she was a teenager too.
Super impressive. I love her. Just such a sweet soul too.
Cameron Thompson says hi to you, just checking in. And a bunch of people commenting on Georgia. Josh wants to know if you'd ever come up here to Great North Wrestling, the company we have in Ontario.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. Any opportunities. So, I mean, I've done just Calgary, Edmonton, Regina. I've done a few in England, and I think that was it. So, yeah, I'm willing to go anywhere.
Someone asking, how does your mother stay looking so young?
Just genes, just the genes. We're lucky.
Now, I already asked you this off camera, but John Stewart says, is your boyfriend involved in wrestling? I think you're actually married, aren't you?
I'm not actually married at the moment.
Oh, okay.
But we're pretty much married. But no, he does not wrestle. I did date in the industry before, but we don't need to go there. My boyfriend's actually a musician. He sings, plays guitar, writes music. He's super talented.
Yeah, I know TJ and Natty have made it work because they knew each other since they were kids, but it's rare to find the relationships within the industry that actually last. What do you think of Sherry Martel? Dennis wants to know.
Oh, I love her. Yeah, absolutely love her. When we were growing up, Miss Elizabeth was my favorite, and my cousin Jade, Sherry, was her favorite. And I think my Aunt Julie was quite close with her, and so she had given a ring to Julie to give to Jade. I'm not sure if she still has it, but yeah, we spent time with her backstage as well.
Joshua wants to know, he's one of our members here, is it important for you to see your dad in the WWE Hall of Fame? Obviously, he belongs in there. I don't think anyone would question that.
I think it would be absolutely super cool to see, but important. I wouldn't use the word important because to me, it's just things. It's just a title. It's just, to have that ceremony would be amazing, and the gathering with all the family and, get to dress up and do the trip, and that would be great. But, I don't need that. He's in my Hall of Fame. So whatever happens, happens. It's out of my hands.
Matt Jarrett, who's actually a promoter in the UK for World Pro Wrestling's watching on our The Hannibal TV Facebook page. He says, did you ever see your dad's work from the UK?
Did I ever see his...
Like any of his UK matches from World of Sport? Or...
Yes. Yeah, I love watching those. He used to be, or when he first started, and he was just bouncing around the ring like a ping pong, like bouncing off his head. Just insane. I love those matches, and he's just a skinny little twig.
This is off topic, but we cover UFO stuff on this channel, so someone's asking, what's your thought on UFOs?
I believe in aliens. They're out there. That's all I gotta say.
Well, the U.S. government has admitted that UFOs exist. They just don't say who they suspect is piloting them. But they've released footage and so forth. I
just can't think about that stuff or I'll get scared. So, but I believe
it. There's some scary stuff when you research it. Al OK says Dynamite apparently had amazing genes.
He did. It's true.
Someone's wondering your favorite British Bulldog moment.
Like my uncle? Like Davey? Or
I guess they're both British Bulldogs. Yeah. Maybe the tag team. Would it be that WrestleMania 2 with Ozzy?
I mean, I think so. That's a highlight for me. For Davey, of course, SummerSlam 92 is a highlight. Just amazing.
Were you at that SummerSlam?
No, I wasn't.
Were you surprised that they inducted Davey into the 2020 Hall of Fame? Someone's asking.
I wasn't surprised. No, he absolutely deserves it. And super happy for him and my cousins and Diana.
Somebody is asking if you're into video games.
No, only Super Nintendo. Like the old school Mario Kart, Mario World. That's it.
Yeah, we have that in common. My gaming ended at Super Nintendo as well.
We just recently bought one because we're kind of on lockdown right now. So we needed things to do. So we have a Wii. We don't really play, but we play Mario Party. And we just got a Super Nintendo and are playing the old games again.
Nick Bali says hello, and he's glad to see that you're doing interviews now.
Hi, Nick. He's a really awesome fan of my dad's. He's always sending me like rare photos. I really appreciate when he does that.
Yeah, it seems he has your dad as his YouTube picture there.
Yeah.
Ibzan wants to know if you have any memories of Davey Boy Smith.
I don't have a lot of memories personally, just because they were always on the road. And when my dad and Davey were back, they didn't really hang out because, of course, they were on the road together. And then a lot of the times they were in Florida, too. They kind of moved from Florida and Calgary back and forth. Yeah, I don't have a lot of memories growing up, unfortunately.
Joshua Max says you're a Kiss fan, are you? I think
my boyfriend.
Oh, okay. He's talking about your boyfriend.
He's
Okay.
hugely obsessed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think of them?
I never liked them, and we went to a concert in Calgary. It was an outdoor stampede show, and I couldn't see because everyone was standing and had their cowboy hats on, like men, big tall men with their cowboy hats, which made them blocking the view even more. So I couldn't see well, so it wasn't a very good experience, but I've learned to like them over the years because of him. Like, I can appreciate them, but they're not my favorite.
John wants to know if you have any Killer Bees stories. Did you meet them at all when you were a kid?
I might have, but I can't remember. I have some stories, like Ultimate Warrior stayed at our house for like a solid week when he was in town. So I remember being a little girl and I was just watching my Saturday morning cartoons. I was coloring, and then down the stairs walks down Ultimate Warrior, and I was just like, continued on with my coloring. Like, this was just my life. These huge wrestling men walking down the stairs and walking around my house in their shorts.
Yeah, I think Billy Graham said that the Bulldogs and the Warrior often travel together, and the Warrior would drive at incredibly fast speeds, and they found that very funny. But I guess, was that in Calgary that he would have stayed?
Yeah, that was in Springbank, when he lived in Springbank.
Okay, cool. How was he treating you back then? Obviously, you're Dynamite's daughter. He probably.
I was super young, so that's kind of my only memory. But
Kevin Wynn wants to know who would be on your Mount Rushmore of female wrestlers. So, like, your top 4 female wrestlers.
Oh gosh, that's putting me under pressure. Of all time or like current?
Of all time, I guess. We could make it easier and say males and females, but I think it would be too hard to say males because you have so many family members that are great wrestlers.
Oh my God, I might have to think about that.
Yeah. We'll ask you at the end, if just for the females. I'll let you off the hook for the males. Malik says, favorite singles match of your father's?
Probably anything with Tiger Mask. Just incredible. I just love watching those old matches.
Malik says, you're beautiful. John wants to know, how old were you when you were smartened up to wrestling? Did you think your father was really getting beat up in matches when you were young?
So I don't really remember watching my dad. I was so young. But I remember watching my Uncle Brett and my cousins and I crying because we really thought he was getting hurt. So, I mean, even still now, like a couple of years ago, I was crying because I thought wrestlers were hurt. And then I'm like, oh, you guys had me. So if you're a good wrestler, it's not fake.
Travis is asking, what's that yellow plaque behind you? You have some interesting stuff behind you.
Yeah, so that was a gift someone got me, found in Vancouver. It doesn't actually have the date. It just says August 25th. I don't know the year, but it's Stampede Wrestling poster. And my dad's on it versus Gamma Singh, Andre the Giant's on it, Foley, Hart Bros, Neidhart. And what I've heard is that show actually never happened. So I don't know. That's a cool poster.
And what about on the other side there? Are they wrestling posters too?
The big one is a big RCW poster from one of my shows right there. That's me. You can't see me.
Very cool. Steve wants to know if there was a Dynamite Kid match in particular that was your favorite.
Again, I don't know if I have a particular favorite, just anything Tiger Mask, I would say.
Craig Smith II wants to know, if you were offered a contract between New Japan or WWE, who would you choose?
I'm going to say WWE.
What did you think about your dad's autobiography? Somebody's asking. I actually liked it.
Yeah, so I only read it once. And then it's just something you kind of have to do, and then you kind of just forget about it. So it was pretty good. People like it.
Yeah, I remember when it first came out. Excerpts says hello to you. Someone says kiss blows. That's funny. Georgia Smith says, can Tiger or Chester make an appearance?
Chester's actually locked up in the bathroom right now, so he's so bad.
John wants to know if you had any crushes on wrestlers back in the day, maybe like WWE wrestlers.
Sure did. So I liked, I'm ashamed to say it now, but Shawn Michaels when he was in the Rockers. Is that what they were called?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rockers. So, and then my cousin Jade had a crush on Marty Jannetty. She had brown hair and he had brown hair, and then I was blonde, and so I liked the blonde. So that's how that went. But growing up, The Rock, I had a big poster above my bed, and I used to like kiss it goodnight.
Yeah, it's probably good thing she didn't hook up with Marty because
Kidding.
I've interviewed him a few times. He's quite a character.
But yeah, I have many crushes.
Ken says, is this Dynamite Kid's daughter? Yes, it is. If you're just joining us. Did he, I forget because it was so long since I read the book. Are you the only child, or is there a couple of kids?
Oh, no, there's three of us. So I'm the eldest, my dad's eldest, and then my brother Merrick and my sister Amaris.
And as far as your mother's relationship to the Hart family, she's one of Stu's daughters, right?
Nope. So my mom's sister, Julie, married Bret Hart, and so that's how we kind of are related. But also, of course, my dad's cousin Davey married Diana, so we're kind of related on two sides.
What's Bret Hart's ex doing now, Julie? Because I remember her from Wrestling with Shadows, and I'm sure a lot of the fans do.
Yeah, she does all kinds of amazing charity work. I can't say exactly what, because off the top of my head, I'm not too sure right now with quarantine and everything. I don't know what she has on the go, but she's just an amazing human, and she has grandchildren that she takes care of as well. So she's super busy all the time.
Travis wants to know if you ever lived in the States because he detects a bit of a Long Island accent on you.
No, born and raised in Calgary, Canada.
Now, this is a bit of a funny question. Did you like Doink the Clown growing up?
Yes. I love little people.
Well, yeah, that's true. They had a whole crew of the little ones, didn't they?
Yeah. What was Dink the Clown?
Dink was one of them, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm thinking of Dink. Okay, Doink. I think I was more of a Dink fan.
I can only imagine the jokes that your dad probably would have played on those clowns. He was backstage during the time they were around. I could see him particularly messing with them. Did Bruce Pritchard ever contact you to do a WWE appearance? Someone is asking.
No.
Joshua says he always sees pictures of Bad News Brown and your dad at your house on Instagram. Were they good friends?
They were super good friends. So his wife would even babysit me. Like I'd sleep over at their house. They had a son, AJ. I think he was a year younger than me. So we would hang out all the time. And yeah, they were really good friends. And they had a big pet pig, like a big potbelly pig. They lived out in Springbank as well on an acreage. And the potbelly pig thought it was a dog. So it had like a doggy door and would just be roaming around the house. I loved that pig. And then Helen was Bad News's wife, and she had just this amazing shoe closet. So I would just always go and be like, ooh, I want to wear those. Or maybe that's where my fashion came from.
Yes, you're styling it up for sure. As I've seen, why don't you tell fans actually where they could follow you on Instagram, since the person brought it up, and other social media?
Yeah, it's just at Bronwyne Jewel. Jewel's my middle name. And then on Twitter, I'm Dynamite Doll.
Ron wants to know, what are some of the funniest moments growing up with all these wrestlers around?
Okay, well, after my dad had left, like years later, so I was in junior high, where my mom lives currently. She lived in a big house in an undeveloped basement, and we had a bunch of wrestlers who came. They were training here to become wrestlers. and they rented out our basement. Like they just slept on little cots in our basement. My mom was a single mom going to university to become a teacher with 3 kids. So she would rent out space in the basement, and all these wrestlers lived with us. So Christian, Edge, and a couple, Test. And then there was a couple other guys that didn't make it on TV, but they all lived with us. So I remember they'd be out working out or whatever, and I'd have some friends over, and I was like putting Tess boots on because he's so big. He's such a big guy. Like his wrestling boots went above my knees. So I'm wearing them. I'm walking around the kitchen, and then he walked in. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I was in junior high, so I was starting to like do things like sneaking around, like starting to drink and stuff like that. And he knew what I was up to, and he was like, "Don't let your mom catch you." Like he was like a big brother to me. I just loved him.
Was one of the wrestlers staying at your house Glenn Kulka?
I'm not sure. Mom, you should answer.
Yeah, because I remember they were going to give him like a monster push above all of those guys, but for whatever reason, it never worked out with Kulka, and Edge was probably the one that became the most famous, I think. Someone's bringing up J.R. Foley. There's all these stories about J.R. Foley and your dad being friends. Do you have any memories of them?
I don't personally. No, I would have been super young.
Yeah, I guess he would have left long before you were able to have memories.
My dad left when I was 7, so, and then was on the road all those years.
Someone's asking if you have any of his wrestling gear. I'm sure that'd be worth a fortune these days.
Yeah, we have. So it's all stored at my mom's house. She's got the bigger house and storage. So we have the sequence Union Jack cape that my dad and Davey wore with the vest underneath in WWF. And we have the Union Jack tights like on the butt, and just some of the long leggings. We don't have any boots, unfortunately, at the moment. Hoping to get my hands on some. My dad was really generous and would give out a lot of stuff to friends, and my mom did the same throughout the years. But that stuff to me doesn't totally matter either. It's just materialistic, but it is cool to have. We have Matilda's, one of her dog collars. A bunch of Japanese trophies we have. And yeah, a bunch of tights. The light blue ones that say Dynamite on the butt.
Very cool. Would you ever sell them, or are they too personal to ever get rid of?
No, I've had people contact me, and I said no. The cape is falling apart. The sequence is all falling off, so we might get it fixed up, but...
Len is asking if you ever met Jerry Morrow. I know he's still living around the Calgary area, and he would often come to shows when I was around.
I'm pretty sure I have. I think he was there for the Heart Legacy shows. A bunch of the old Stampede guys were there. Gamma Singh and Cuban Assassin was there, and yeah.
Did you know Rick Titan at all, the fake Razor Ramon that lived in Calgary and passed away recently?
Sorry, what about him?
Did you know him?
No, I didn't.
No, okay. Yeah, I know he kind of moved on from wrestling. Steve's wondering how the lockdown is there. Here in Ontario, it's full lockdown again, but I understand it's more open in Alberta.
Well, it was until December 7th. We got some. Got some more restrictions, and they were going to open up like this week, but now they've extended it another 2 weeks. So no restaurants, no gyms. The malls are open, oddly. So that's the only kind of good thing, I guess. I can go to the mall if I'm bored, but that's about it.
Do you work out at the gyms? You look like you keep yourself in very good shape, but I know with 2 kids, it can sometimes be hard to actually leave the house.
Before I used to have a gym, like if I lived in a condo, there'd be a gym, but now we live in a townhouse, so we don't have a gym, but I just work out at home. That's all I really have time for. I do videos and I own an elliptical. Yeah, I'm just chasing 2 kids around.
John Cullen wants to know if you've ever been to Wigan, which is obviously where your father trained.
Yes, I have. So the last years I've been seeing my dad. He was living in Wigan, so there was actually a gym even walkable distance to my dad's house that I went to. I can't remember the name of it now. I'd have to look it up because I took a picture of it. But I want to say Riley's Gym.
Yeah, there was something like that they called the Snake Pit or something. Maybe
No, but it wasn't that. It wasn't that place. But yes, I've been to Wigan. I love it.
Favorite Marilyn Manson song?
My favorite Marilyn Manson song. That's too hard.
Too hard, really.
Too hard. It's all so good. Man That You Fear, I hold dear to my heart. That's one of my favorite songs.
Are you a prankster like your father? Someone's asking.
No, absolutely not. Serious.
Do you come out? Did you ever come out to the British Bulldogs theme music, which was basically that British theme?
I only did it once in Regina, like actually the last time I was there. So that would have been in 2020, because I was by myself and I was presenting this Dynamite Kid. Was it Dynamite Kid or British Bulldog belt that a friend of my mom's had made? It's this gorgeous belt. So I was presenting this belt on the show. I wasn't actually working with a wrestler at that show. So they played that song when I brought the belt out.
By the way, to that fan, I think the Dope Show song is my favorite Marilyn Manson song.
It's a good one.
It is a good one. People love when we do 420 interviews on this channel from time to time, now that it's legal in Canada. Okay. Greg wants to know, what do you do for fun right now in this crazy world? You mentioned you play Super Nintendo.
Yeah, right now there's not a whole lot to do. So we've been watching, when this whole thing started, we were watching Jericho every week when he would go live on Facebook. So that was something just that we had to look forward to. But yeah, just watching a lot of wrestling and spinning records. We have a machine here, so a machine. You know what I'm saying, a vinyl machine.
Yeah, a record player, I think they used to be called.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. We play lots of music. My boyfriend will play guitar, and you know, just the little things right now. Go for walks, and we live close to the river, so.
Dennis is asking when Bad News passed. It was 2007. I actually did his official memorial show in Cochrane.
Okay. Is that where, and Honky Tonk was there?
Honky Tonk was the year before or after. I can't remember, but there was a ton of people for his memorial show, including his wife was there. Harry couldn't wrestle on it, but I think he was there watching because he was already in WWE at that time.
Oh, wow.
But Samoa Joe was there, a bunch of them. I wrestled Abdullah the Butcher, as much as I hate to talk about it, because that was a bad match.
Oh, was he just like too old?
Yeah. Yeah, couldn't really walk by that time. It was terrible. Ibzam wants to know if Jim Neidhart was buried in Calgary or in the U.S.
I don't think he's buried here. I'm not sure if he's buried at all, but
okay.
Not too sure.
Yeah, because I believe
if he was buried here, I think I would know that, but I don't know if he's buried at all. But
they moved to Tampa, obviously, to be closer to Natalia and TJ.
Yeah, they're all there.
That time. Harry still has a place in Calgary, though, doesn't he? Even though he lives in Florida, doesn't he also have a house in Calgary?
I think he sold it finally.
Okay.
Unless he's renting it out.
Ron says he loved and misses you. What is your favorite pay-per-view ever?
Favorite pay-per-view ever? I don't know. I like I don't know if I have like a particular favorite, but I mean, WrestleMania is always the best. I will always tune in to watch that. The costumes and the lights and just all the money that goes into it, the performances. Yeah.
What do you think your dad would think about today's wrestling? Some of this comedy stuff that goes on with people vaporizing and
yeah, I don't think he'd like it because my dad was just all about the sport and the actual, just the sport of it. He wasn't in it for the sports entertainment. So
I'm gonna guess before all that terrible stuff happened with Benoit, you were probably a fan of Chris because he emulated after your father.
Yeah, I have no bad things to say. I mean, I'm friends with Chris Benoit's son, so great worker.
The son at one point was training in Calgary. I think he's being trained by other people now.
Yeah, David.
Yeah. Isn't I think Jericho's hooking him up with something. But you mentioned Chris Jericho earlier. Have you had much interactions with him over the years?
So I haven't. Something like I want to link up with him and I want to be friends, but I don't want to be like a mark or like weird about it. So my boyfriend during quarantine, actually in May, my birthday was in May, he made me a video of all these people and he managed to get Jericho on there. So that was pretty cool. He listens to, or Jericho's on this Kiss podcast that my boyfriend listens to. And so he went through that podcast to get through to him and he did a video for me. So I'm hoping we'll link up soon.
Yeah, well, a lot of people watch this channel from the wrestling industry, so somebody hooked Bronwyne up with Jericho. You're watching this.
Like, I just love you.
Give her a valet job in AEW. It's only once a week, and she's got the look and the background. I'm sure you'd be great there. John Stewart wants to know if you ever had to defend your father being a wrestler in school, or did other kids think it was cool?
I don't think I ever had to defend him. No, everyone always thought it was cool.
And also you're like a member of the Hart clan, which in Calgary is like royalty there, and no one's gonna mess with you guys.
Sure. We're like little mini celebrities in Calgary.
There's a bunch of fans on here complimenting you and talking about Fozzy. What did you think of Fozzy?
I like Fozzy. I've never seen them. My boyfriend's seen them, but I hope that they come back to Calgary again and I can see them.
Adam says you are a sweetheart, a special friend, and a great mother.
Thank you, Adam. All the way in the UK.
Any chance of, well, you said one of your kids is 10 years old. Could that one possibly get into wrestling? She's
12 and a half. But I always thought she would. She's been into gymnastics. She's super athletic. Yeah, there's a good chance. She always liked watching it. She loves coming to the shows.
Joshua Mack wants to know, where does your Uncle Brett live? He saw pictures of his pool and the home looks awesome.
Yeah, he lives in Springbank.
He has a house. Oh, no, he's not with the Hawaii wife anymore, is he?
No, Stephanie. He's been with Stephanie for 10 plus years.
Okay, yeah, because then at one point...
I think you're thinking of the Italian wife.
Oh, Italian. Okay, sorry. I have a terrible memory, as you could probably...
He had a house in Hawaii, though. That's why you're probably thinking that.
But John says, if wrestling doesn't work, what's your backup plan? Wrestling is not her job. She is just wrestling for fun right now, and she seems to have the look. I guess I'm going to have to look her up in action. Do you have YouTube videos or stuff where people could search you in the ring if they want to see?
They're out there. RCW does take videos, and I think Andre Corbiel posts them, but I don't have a page of my own where I'm posting them, and I don't really watch them after because it's just for fun.
This is a question here that Harry might find funny to get your answer on. Who is your favorite giant wrestler between Giant Gonzalez and Andre the Giant?
I don't know who Giant Gonzalez is. Who is that?
The guy that used to wear the bodysuit. He wrestled The Undertaker at WrestleMania 9. They're both passed away. Okay, so I guess Andre by default.
Yeah.
James wants to know, are you a CFL fan? And if yes, which is your team?
Nope. I don't really do sports, only wrestling.
So no MMA either, I guess.
I like if it's on, I like watching it, but I don't follow it like crazy.
Do you think Harry will ever fight MMA, or the opportunities are just too big in wrestling for him to go down that route?
I can see him doing MMA. Yeah, why not?
Someone's asking, what is your regular job that you do?
I'm a receptionist at a law firm.
Phil wants to know if you have any memories of Stu Hart. You did talk about some earlier in this interview.
Yeah, just you'd always pull the girls' ponytails, like literally always. We all knew. So it'd be like Heart of Gold. He'd be, downstairs in the basement in the dungeon, of course. He'd always have someone in some kind of lock. All the Cadillacs that they had on their property, and just animal lovers. Lots of memories going there, and he'd always kind of be in his chair and everyone would just come say hi to him.
Is there any particular first wrestling match you have a memory of? Someone's asking.
Not really, no. Not that I can think of.
Someone else says, when's the next show they can see you at? I guess with the lockdown regulations, just like everywhere in Canada, we're at the mercy of the government here.
Yes, not too sure. Hopefully soon.
I would one day, as I told her, when all this ends, like to bring Great North Wrestling to the pavilion so I could cross that off my...
But I think that they are like shutting it down or tearing it down.
Are they? Oh my God. I guess I'm going to have to hurry.
Yeah.
If it's not already been done. Were you a fan of Sting? Someone's asking.
I think not a big fan. No, not that I don't like him, but maybe I wasn't watching much then. No, because I literally would be in and out of wrestling. There was times when I tried to avoid it. Like it brought too much pain because of what it did to my father. And eventually it was just like, it's in my life so much. I can't avoid it anymore.
James wants to know if you have a YouTube channel.
I don't.
Now, this is a funny question that I'll just put out for the fun of it. Tim wants to know your favorite murderer wrestler between the Great Khali and Jimmy Snuka.
Okay, Superfly.
There you go. Now, the Great Khali's, I think both incidents were unintentional, but the Great Khali's was due to a wrestling move. Then I think for some reason Bruce testified at that trial. I remember Bruce telling us. And now that I'm thinking of Bruce, did Bruce ever train you at all? He was one of my trainers and one of Natalia's and all the Hart grandkids trainers.
No, but I know that my brother and like cousin Blade did a little bit of training with Bruce.
Your cousin, I think I've seen videos of him. Is that the British one? There's one. They're...
Oh, no, you're thinking of, so my dad's brother, Mark, his two sons are wrestling in England. Mark and Thomas are their names, and they're just, Thomas is a spitting image of my dad. It's crazy.
Yeah,
they're both really good. They got that snappy style, and they're just young and just starting. I think they've been wrestling only 2 years, maybe. So it's going to be interesting with
the one that looks exactly like your dad. It's incredible how close he looks to your dad.
Yeah.
Kung wants to know if you're going to watch The Dark Side of the Ring on your dad. As we said earlier, she's actually in it, so I assume that, yes, she will watch it.
There will be a watch party for sure.
You could probably sell tickets to that if the lockdown's over by then. Did Hulk Hogan ever show up at your house when you were a kid?
No, I don't, and I can't recall ever meeting him. There's some guys I met and some guys I didn't, so.
Someone's asking another Hulk Hogan question. Were you a fan of his?
Probably not really.
The same guy wants to know if you're happy about the Dark Side of the Ring documentary on your father.
I haven't seen it yet, so I think it's going to be great.
Very good. James wants to know how many cats you have.
Just 2. I want more, though.
Len McDonald wants to know if you ever met Johnny Smith, who was a tag team of the British Bruisers with your father. Yeah.
He was around a lot. His wife is my sister's godmother, so I know him well.
What's he up to? I heard he went into...
He's a cop.
Really? Wow. Is there any match of his and your dad's that you liked in particular?
No, I can't say I watched a lot of them, but...
The fans are full of funny questions today. Dennis wants to know who's the better technician, Uncle Elmer or Mabel?
Oh my goodness, Mabel.
The Booty Man himself wants to know, do you still have the wrestling figures of your dad?
I do. I have some all on the wall here. Let's see. Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I don't really collect them. I didn't even realize they put out new ones. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. This little guy I just got from Value Village of Davie.
Oh, wow. I used to have that one when I was a kid. That's pretty cool.
Pretty cool, right?
Kevin Wynn wants to know who was the creepiest wrestler you ever met. It's probably an independent one, I would imagine, but
I mean, just I don't know about creepy, but The Undertaker freaked me out when I was younger. So
at certain points, there were some creepy people that would hang out at the Hart House from time to time that would just kind of like
it just existed.
What's going on with the Hart House now, anyways?
Someone bought it, and it looks similar, but they like renovated it, so it's similar but different. I think it's green on the outside, or yeah. And then I think everything is different, but the dungeon, I believe, they kept.
That is cool. That is very cool.
As far as I know, you used to be able to look it up on like a rental, because you could rent the house, and it's like a hugely expensive rental house. You could look it up online.
Very interesting. I'm going to look that up. John Stewart wants to know if you like the band Faith No More.
They're okay.
Favorite Calgary band?
Calgary. My boyfriend's band, On the Bones.
Do you do anything for the band as far as backup dancer or the tambourine?
No, but I think that I should. That's what I said. I want to get like the little triangle.
Yeah.
I'll just be their hype girl.
That's about all I could do as well. So yeah, as we wrap this up, a bunch of people are saying, could you finish off the question of your Mount Rushmore of ladies wrestlers?
Oh my God, it's so hard. I'm under pressure. Okay, well, of course, Natalia. And Nikki Bella, because I just love her. And Miss Elizabeth, does she count? She's not a wrestler, but
she's a wrestling personality for sure. Okay.
And I have so many favorites. It's so hard. I'm like obsessed with all the divas. So, and Sherry, let's put her up there.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate that you did this interview with us. It was
Big Swole, my mom says. Yes, we love Big Swole.
Oh, there you go. You're good at reading the comments as they come up. Very positive comments, by the way. People love you on here.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to tell the fans out there before we close it up?
I think I just really wanted this opportunity to speak. This isn't something that I do very often, but I just want to start. It's actually a goal of mine, 2021, to start doing more appearances, because I want the chance to be able to speak positively about my father. I don't feel like that gets done enough, and all my memories are super positive about him. So I want to make him proud. I want to keep his memory alive. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I hope that I'm not boring you, or you guys think like, what is this girl doing? Like, we don't care, because it's all about him and just keeping his memory alive. And again, I'm just doing this for fun. So I appreciate everyone watching and asking questions.
And here's an easy one to finish it off. Favorite wrestling theme song?
I mean, Jericho's right now is pretty epic. Fozzy. I want to see that live. I want to go on the Jericho cruise so bad when the world opens up again.
Well, pass that message along. If one thing could happen out of this, someone tell Chris Jericho to get in touch with her. And lots of people are thanking you for doing this, so we appreciate it. Maybe once you actually have a match to promote, we can have you back on and you could talk about that and give it some publicity. And all the fans are saying, no, they didn't get bored. They loved hearing from you. So I'll let you close this off with whatever you want to tell the fans.
Just thank you for your support, and for everyone that loves my father and continuously shows their support for him. It means a lot to me and my family. And everyone stay safe right now. We're all in this together, and I hope that we'll come out of this soon, stronger, and I'll be able to show you guys what I got going on here real soon.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it.